Hello everyone, welcome to our new lesson. So we are going to discuss today's geometry EOC standard GPE 2.5. It's about the parallel and perpendicular lines. Specifically says that find the equation of the line parallel or perpendicular to a given line that passes through a given point. And as one of the sample question, the identity specs give one of the sample question, equation of a line A is given, and here's the equation, and we need to write the equation of a B, the line B that is perpendicular to the given line and passing through that point. So that is the lesson. So before going to that lesson, we are going to discuss some basic information about the slope and how to write an equation of a line. So when you discuss about the slope, you might have learned in algebra 1 class, slope is a rate of change, or we can say the slope is a change in y divided by over change in x, or we say how much y increase or decrease per x increase or decrease. So we can categorize the slope in four groups. One is the positive slope. If it's an uphill, it's a positive slope, and negative slope, the graph is going down. If it's a downhill, we would say it's a negative slope. The line is flat, as line is horizontal, then the slope is 0, and the line is vertical, the slope will be undefined. So in other words, the slope describes the steepness of the line. If the line is uphill, it's a positive, and the downhill is negative. If there is no steepness, then we would say that the slope is 0, and this is the maximum steepness. So the slope will be undefined. So when we find the slope of a line or something, you may be facing with the three situations. So to find the slope, you may be given a graph. So here we are going to discuss how to find the slope if you are given a graph, or you may be given a 2 points, so x1 y1 and x2 y2. So we use the slope formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to find the slope of that line if we are given a 2 points. Same way if you are given an equation in any form, so how we find or identify the slope of that particular line from that equation. So what we do, we rewrite the equation in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So m, the coefficient of x, is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. So I have a couple of examples how to do those stuff. Okay, here is one of the question I have. So I have a graph. I need to identify the slope of that graph. So when I have the previous note, I mentioned that to find the slope, if you are given a graph, we use the rise over run. So for that, so we identify 2 points on the graph. So I can choose any 2 points. So here I have given already 2 points. If you don't want those to use 2 points, choose one of these points, and let me choose 8. So when you trace through the graph, the line passes through this grid. So I have a second point here. So make a right triangle for the rise over run. So I can see from 8 to this point, I need to go 2 points down, so -2, and 1, 2, 3 point right. So when you write the slope m, rise over run, my rise is 2 point down. So since we are going down, so we write -2, and we are moving 3. The run is 3 point to the right, so it become +3. So the slope of that line is -2 over 3. Look, the slope is negative. That means the line is a downhill or coming down. So you may think how we can, if you make a right triangle in the other way, from here to here. So how can we reach? So when we make the right triangle, from this to that point, we are moving 2 point up and 3 point left, or we can say that 3 point to the right and 2 point the down. So since we are moving to the right, our run is 3, and since we are moving to down, so our rise is -2. If you go the opposite way, if you go up, the rise become +2. Moving left, the run become -3. So in that situation, 2 over -3. So basically 2 over -3 means -2 over 3. So we have another question here. So when you look at the graph, you can see that there is no steepness of this line. There is no rise. There is no rise is 0. So this is a flat line. So this is a flat line. There is no steepness for this line. So basically the slope of that line is 0. So m is equal to 0. So you have 2 more questions over here. So look at those questions and find the slope of that line. Take a moment, pause the video and find the slope of that line. So welcome back. So when I look at that one, I have 2 points. So if you don't want to choose 2 points, choose a point on the grids. I can choose this point. So when you trace through the graph, here is the next point. Okay. So my rise over run, so I go up 2 and over 1. So the slope is rise over run. So I'm going 2 point up. My rise is +2. And running 1 to the right, so run is +1. So 2 over 1 is 2. So the slope of that line is 2. You may think, what about if we take 2 different points, for example, this M and this point? So let us do that too. So I had to go 1, 2, 3, 4 point up and 2 point over. So my rise is 4 and my run is 2. So I get a 4 over 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So when you simplify it, you'll reach the same point. So the next question you might have done already. So I have 2 points are here. I'm going to choose those same point. So I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 point down and 3 point over. So my rise is 4 point down. So that becomes -4. My run is 3 to the right, so +3. So you cannot simplify that. So the slope of that line is -4 over 3. So now you understand how to find the slope of a line from the graph. The next one is, if you have 2 points, how we find out the slope. So I mentioned that if you have 2 points, we use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to find out the slope. I have an example here, so let me give you another example on this worksheet. So I want to find the slope of this line. So I have 2 points are given. So choose 1 point is x1, y1. When you have a coordinate, the first one is the x and second is the y. So this is the x and y. So the second x2, y2. And apply the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now plug in those numbers. So my y2 is 4. This minus is a part of the formula, minus my y1 is 5 over my x2 is 2. This minus is the part of the formula here, and the x1 is -3. So I can do 4 minus 5 is -1 over. Since there is a 2 negative is coming together, that make positive, that become 2 plus 3. So 2 negative is coming together, that become positive. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So slope of the line passing through those 2 points is -1 over 5. So take a moment, you have 2 more questions. So pause the video and find the slope of those two points. So the first one is 2, -3. The second one is 0, 1. And here is the second question. So take a moment and do those two questions. So if you have done that answers, you may get the slope of this line is -1, and the slope of the second line is m is equal to m is equal to 1. So if you want to show how to do that work, so I had to apply the same formula y2 minus y1. So this I am going to take, this is x1 and y1, and this is x2 and y2. So y2 is 1 minus y1 is -3 over x2. x2 is 0 minus is the part of that formula, so y1 is 4. So sorry, x1 is 4. So two negative is coming together, that become 1 plus 3, that become 4, and 0 minus 4 is -4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. Since we are dividing with a negative number, that become -1. So that's why slope is -1. I hope you can do this problem by yourself. So first, when I talk about the slope and y-intercept, I told you that when you have a graph, it is easy to use the rise over run. When you are given a 2 point, it is easy to use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the last one here, if you are given an equation, you need to rewrite the equation into slope-intercept form. That means y is equal to mx plus b. The m, the coefficient of x is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So I have a couple of questions here. Now we are going to find out the slope from an equations. The first, you need to rearrange the equation into y is equal to mx plus b form. So y is equal to mx plus b form. In other words, I need to isolate y, or we can say we have to solve for y. So to isolate y, I need to move that 4x to the right side of the equal sign. So here is the equal sign. So to remove the 4x, 4x is positive, so subtract 4x from both sides. So I will get, so you have to, equal sign is here. So negative y, bring it down. So don't forget, the sign will also follow by the following that variable. So it's a negative y, then you have to write down negative y is equal to, I have 16 minus 14x. You cannot subtract 4x from 16 because they are unlike. So I just write down negative 4x plus 16. 16 is positive. So I have to remove the negative from the y. So to remove the negative sign, either you need to multiply with -1 or divide with the -1. So I'm going to divide with the -1. So divide each and every term with the negative. So negative divided by negative is positive y is equal to -4 divided by -1 is 4x, and 16 divided by -1 is -16. So you can write y is equal to 4x minus 16. So the coefficient of x, the 4 is the slope of the line. So the slope is 4, y is equal to mx. So m is the slope 4 plus b, the y-intercept is -16. You have the next problem. Just pause the video and try to solve by yourself. So I hope you did that problem by yourself right now. So let us go through that question again. So I need to isolate the y. So change the y is equal to mx plus b form. So I had to subtract 2x from both sides. So I have the equal sign here. So subtract 2x from both sides. So bring down the remaining terms. So I have positive 3x, so I don't have to write the plus 3x. But the previous question, since it was a negative y, so make sure that you write the negative. Since it is positive 3x, you don't have to write the plus sign. is implied that that's a positive. So 8 minus 2x, we cannot subtract because they are unlike terms, so just write it down, minus 2x plus 8. To solve for y, I need to divide this with 3, so I have to divide both sides and each and every term with 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1y is equal to negative 2 over 3x. I cannot simplify or I cannot divide it, so keep it as a fraction. And 8 divided by 3 is also, so we cannot simplify that. So now y is equal to m, the m is negative 2 over 3 mx, that's the slope, plus b, the y-intercept is 8 over 3. So the slope of that equation is negative 2 over 3 and the y-intercept is 8 over 3. So we have the next problem. So you need to identify the slope and y-intercept. So you need to rearrange equation to mx plus b. Fortunately, this equation is already given in the slope-intercept form. So you don't have to make any arrangement or rearrangement. So in the place of m, the coefficient of x is 2, the slope is 2, y-intercept b is 7. You have one more question, two more questions over here. Question number 4. Here I need to solve the equation for y is equal to mx plus b. In other words, I need to isolate isolate y. To isolate y, it is easy to move this negative 1 to the other side. So it's a minus 1, so to remove that one, add 1 on both sides. So plus 1 on both sides. So I'll get y is equal to, so I cannot add 3x plus 1, they're unlike, so just write down 3x plus 1. Now y is isolated, or I can write y is equal to 3x plus 1. So I have the slope m is 3 and the y-intercept b is 1. So the next problem, so already know that is already y is equal to mx plus b form. So the slope is 3 over 4 and the y-intercept is negative 7. The last question, I need to solve for y. I get y is equal to, so divide the 3 on both sides, 6. So when I draw the graph of this line, the y is equal to 6. That means all the y coordinates are 6. So the graph should be a horizontal line. So the graph of y is equal to 6, a horizontal line, or other words, the line is a flat, so there is no steepness. The slope is 0. I have to say one more thing. If the equation was x is equal to some number 6, okay, so x is equal to 6 there. So when I draw the graph, that should be a vertical line. So since it's a vertical line, slope of this line should be undefined. So that's it about the slope. So if you have an equation to find out the slope, rearrange the equation into y is equal to mx plus b. The m will be the slope of the line or graph. So I have one more question here. So two more questions, I want to do it over here. So here the question is asked to graph it. So question is already given y is equal to mx plus b form. So m means the slope, that is slope, here is slope is 1 and y-intercept b is negative 2. So when you draw the graph, the slope will give you rise over run. So rise over run. So we need a starting point. You need to stand somewhere to run or rise. So the starting point is the negative 2, the y-intercept. So y-intercept will give you the starting point. So first you need to plot the y-intercept negative 2. Now you need to rise over run. So here the rise is 1. Then what about the run? So I had to keep it as a 1 at the denominator. I have to make it as a fraction. Here the slope is 1, so I can make it as a fraction by writing 1. Basically 1 divided by 1 is 1. So my rise is 1 and run is also 1. So You had to go 1 point up, positive rise, that is go up, positive run, go to the right. So 1 point up, 1 point over, up, 1 point over. So keep on doing that one. If you do the opposite way, go backwards, you have to go down 1, left, down 1, left. So down 1, left. So you will get a straight line like this. So I hope you can try the next question. Please pause the video and try to do it and come back. So here I have y is equal to negative 1 over 3x plus 3. My slope is negative 1 over 3. Keep the negative number with the numerator, negative the numerator, and the y-intercept b is 3. So my starting point, the y-intercept is 3. So I plot the point 3 on the y-axis. So my slope is negative 1. So my rise over run is negative 1 over 3. My rise is negative, that means you are going down 1. And your run is positive, that means you are going to the right. So it's basically a downhill slope. Because the slope is negative, the line should be a downhill. So I need to go 1 point down, 3 point over. If you go backwards, 1 point up, 3 to the left, 1 up, 3 left. So I get one more extra point. So draw the line connecting those two lines. So that is the graph of that line. So we have one more graph, that's equation of point slope form. We can do two different ways, change this into slope intercept form or keep it as it is. So this is the point slope form. We discussed in another one of the video, point slope form. This is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1 format. So in the place of m, we have 1/4. So my slope is 1 over 4. So I have a point x1, y1. So I have a point x1, y1. So y minus y1. So y1 is 2. M, I have 1/4 times, open a parenthesis, x minus x1. But we don't have minus here. Instead of minus, it is plus y. Because this number was x minus negative 1. That's why that turned to x minus negative, that 2 negative become positive, that become plus 1. So my x1 was really negative 1. So I have a point, now I have a point negative 1, 2. Again, this is the point slope form. I had to y minus y1. So my y1 is 2 equal to m is the slope, that is 1/4 times x minus x1, but it is a plus because it was x minus negative 1, that means x1 was negative 1. So I have a point negative 1, 2. So plot that point, x is negative 1 and y is 2. So that point negative 1, 2. Now apply the slope rise over run. So the rise is positive, that means you have to go up, and run is positive, that go to the right. So from this point, you need to go 1 point up, 4 point over. So draw a straight line connecting. So that will be the graph of that one. So in order to draw a graph, you need to have a starting point. The most of the time, the y-intercept will give you the starting point. Sometimes equation is given the point slope form. Then you have to identify that particular point, what we did here. Then you have to apply the slope rise over run from the point what we have. So now we have learned how to find the slope using 3 different situations: graph, 2-point, and equation. And also we have learned how to draw the graph if you know an equation, the point slope or slope intercept form. So line. So before that, I want to talk about some form of the line. The first one is slope intercept form. So that is known as y is equal to mx plus b form. Here m represents the slope and the b represents the y-intercept. I have an equation there of line there. So y is equal to 4x plus 7. So the 4 will be the slope and 7 is the y-intercept. The other one is the point slope form. So we have a point x1 y1. So I have to use the formula is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So just plug it in. So these are the points. So plug it in the formula. So you will get the answer like this. So we have a question for you to find the equation of a line. So here is the question. Write the equation of a line passes through the point 4, 2 and 8, 5 in the slope-intercept form. So we already discussed the slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b form. So here m means slope and b means y-intercept. So when you look at the question, the question is not given the slope or y-intercept. Instead of that, the question is given 2 points. Since we are given 2 points, we can find out the slope of that line using the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So pause the video and find out the slope. So I will also do with this one. So find out the slope of the line using that formula. So y2 is 5 minus y1 is 2 over x2 is 8 minus x1 is 4. So 5 minus 2 is 3 over 8 minus 4 is 4. So the slope of that line m is 3 over 4. I got the slope m is equal to 3 over 4. So now I am missing the y-intercept b. So I know slope is 3 over 4. So plug in that 3 over 4 here. So y is equal to 3 over 4 x plus b. And one more step close to my answer. So if I have b also, so I have all answers. So now I need to figure out the b. So to figure out the b, choose any one of these points. Doesn't matter which point you use, 4, 2 and 8, 5. So for the time being, I am going to choose 4, 2. So choose the point 4, 2. So you already know that when you have a coordinate, the first coordinate is the x coordinate and the second one is the y. So this is x and this is y. Plug in for x and y, 4 and 2 in this new step. So y is equal to 3/4 of x plus b. So my y is 2. So I can say 2 is equal to 3/4 of x. So 3/4 of x. X is 4 here plus b. And solve for b. So when you simplify this side, the fraction, you multiply with the numerator and divide with the denominator. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 divided by 4 is 3 again. I get a 3 plus b on the right side and bring down the 2 on the left side. To solve for b, I have to subtract 3 from both sides. So subtract 3 from both sides. So you will get b is equal to 2 minus 3 is -1. So I have the b is -1. So I can plug in the value of b in my formula here, my equation of the line. So I get y is equal to 3/4 of x minus 1. So that will be the answer to that question. So we have the next question. So question number 2, write the equation of a line passes through 4, 6 and with the slope 1/2 in slope intercept form. So you already know the slope intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. And plug in what you know. As per the question, you know the slope is 1/2. Y is equal to, have the slope, m is equal to 1/2. So plug in for m, that is 1/2 x plus b. Now I need to figure out what is the b, the y-intercept. Since this line is passing through the point here, you say the line is passes through the particular point here. Since this line is passing through that point, plug in 4, 6 in the equation. So the 4 is the x coordinate and 6 is the y coordinate. So you will get 6 is equal to 1/2 of x, that being 1/2 of 4 plus b. Simplify 1/2 of 4. That means when you do the fraction, you multiply with the numerator, that becomes 2. 1 times 4 is 4 divided by 2, that becomes 2. To solve for b, I subtract 2 from both sides. You get b is equal to 2 minus 2 is cancelled out. 6 minus 2 is 4. So now I have the value of b is equal to 4. So I can write the equation, or you can plug in that here, write the equation y is equal to m, that is 1/2 of x, plus b, that b is equal to 4. So you will get the answer is y is equal to 1/2 of x plus 4 is the equation of the line. Another method of doing this same thing is just draw the graph of the situation. So from the graph you can identify both x and y intercept. So I'll show you that method also. We have draw the x and y axis on a graph sheet. So the question says that the line is passing through 4, 6. So on the graph sheet, plot the point 4, 6. 4. Here is the point 4, 6. And slope is 1/2. So slope is 1/2 means rise is 1. Since it's positive, 1 is going up. And you have to run 2 to the right. So positive 2, you got to go to 2 up, 2 right. So 1 up, 2 right. So if I go backwards, so 1 down, 2 left. 1 down, 2 left. 1 down, 2 left. I will reach here. So draw a nice straight line. So when you look at this graph, the graph is crossing the y-axis here at this point, the point that is 4. So I can get the y-intercept is 4. So instead of doing that way, so you can draw the graph of that one. So you get the y-intercept is 4. So you can write the equation y is equal to m, 1/2 of x plus b, the 4. Here is the next question. We have a line that passes through -5, 1 with the slope 2. Write the slope intercept 4. Please pause the video and try to do that question by yourself, and turn on the video and check whether you get the same answer. I hope you have done that one. So let's do the question together. So we have a slope intercept form, y is equal to mx plus b. I have the slope, so y is equal to, so slope is 2. So plug in slope, m is equal to 2x plus b. So I'm missing the y-intercept b, so I have to plug in the point -5, 1 here. So when you have a coordinate, this is the x and y, the second coordinate. I can plug in 1 for y. 1 is equal to 2. X is -5 plus b. So 1 is equal to negative 10 plus b. To solve for b, so it's negative 10, so add 10 on both sides. So I will get b is equal to negative and positive and cancel out, that becomes 0. So 1 plus 10 is 11. So my b is 11. I got b is equal to 11. So I can write the equation y is equal to m, that is 2x plus b is 11. So that should be the answer to your question. Or the same way, you can take your graph sheet and apply the same thing. Draw the graph sheet. So x and y axis. My points are negative 5, 1. So on the graph sheet, I put negative 5, 1. So 2 for negative 5, 1 is here. My slope is 2. I can write 2 over 1. That means rise is 2, run is over 1. So from that point, go 2 up over 1. You continue still you reach the y-axis, 2 up over 1. So here is the y-intercept. So when you look at here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So your y-intercept is 11. So you get b is equal to 11. So now you have m is 2 and b is 11. So do the same thing. Y is equal to 2x plus 11. Here is the third problem. Write the equation of a line with the x-intercept negative 5 and the y-intercept is 3. So I encourage you to use the graph to do that one. So that is also one easy way to do it. So draw the x and y axis and plot the x-intercept, that is negative 5, and y-intercept 3 on the y-axis. So when you do that one, so your x-intercept is negative 5, that's on the left side 2, 4, 5 here, negative 5, and y-intercept is 3 on the y-axis, that is positive 3 here. So draw the line passing through that. So from the graph, I have b is equal to 3, the y-intercept b is equal to 3. Let me write down here 2, b is equal to 3. And I need to identify the slope of the line. Since I have graph here, I can use rise over run. So I had to move 3 point up and 5 point right. So my slope is rise over run. I had to go 3 point up, 5 point over. So my slope is 3 over 5. So when you write the equation of that line, y is equal to m 3 over 5x plus b, the 3 here. So that should be the answer to that question. If you want to use the algebraic method, I have y is equal to mx plus b. Here I don't know what is the m is not given, but I have given the y-intercept. So y-intercept is 3. I can replace the b with the 3. Now I need to identify the slope. So I can do two different ways. Since I have another point, the x-intercept 0, 5, if I write as a coordinate, that become x is negative 5 and the y is 0. So negative 5, 0 is the coordinate of that. I can plug in that coordinate here. I can figure it out what is m. So let us do that. When you have a coordinate, my y is 0. I can write 0 is equal to m times x. I have x is negative 5 plus 3. I need to solve for m, so I can write 0 is equal to, I could write 0 is equal to negative 5m plus 3. To solve for m, first I need to move this negative 5 to the left side. So 5m is equal to 3. So to solve for m, so divide with the 5 on both sides. So I get m is equal to 3 over 5. So you get the same answer here. You have a couple of questions over here again. So take a moment. So do that one. So here is the question number 5. So you need to write the equation of a line passes through 8, 0 with the slope negative 3 over 5. So take a moment and do those questions. And you have this to both. Next question is, we have a line that passes through 1, 7 and negative 6, 7 in the slope intercept form. So this is y is equal to mx plus b. I can find out the slope m using the formula m is equal to y2 minus, I can find out the slope m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you do that one, you will get the slope is 0 over negative 7. So that means 0 divided by any number is 0. My slope is 0. So I can plug in 0 for m. So I can write my slope is 0. Y is equal to 0 x plus b. So I need to figure out the y-intercept. So plug in one of the number here. So I'm going to plug in 1 for x and 7 for y here. 7 is equal to 0 times 1 plus b. That means 7 is equal to 0 times 1 is 0. So that has gone. So I have b. I get a b is equal to 7. So b is equal to 7. So my answer is y is equal to 0x plus 7. But 0x is 0. So you get the answer y is equal to 7. So I hope you understand how to write the equation of a line in a slope intercept form if you are given a 2 points or if you are given a point and the slope.